Hello, Internet. Welcome to another issue of the Ghostlight Social, the show where we get creative people together. We have a chat. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring in Mr. Lee Toombs. How are you doing, Lee?
I'm very well, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right, actually. I feel back to normal, which is nice.
Good.
Yeah, so just the usual amount of shit, I feel.
Yeah, well, I'm okay. Good. Why don't we introduce Keely? You two talk for a moment, and then I'll go pick Rupert up in some way, and then I'll be back.
We're alone.
I know.
You need to stop moving like this.
This is it, innit? How's the coffee?
It's all right, you know. It's a decaf. I'm wild in my old age. A little bit of decaf and oat milk.
Oh.
So, you know.
Yeah, you're speaking my language, because a couple of years ago, I dropped everything. Sugar, caffeine, alcohol, job lot.
At one go?
Yeah, it won't go. Just everything
How
went.
much weight did you drop?
None.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you check yourself into rehab then?
Almost, yeah. It felt like that, because literally all my vices, because I've smoked and drank and did other things and all that kind of stuff. Ate like shit, ate cakes and biscuits and all that kind of bollocks, and
The
never
good
really,
stuff.
didn't look after myself one bit. And then all of a sudden, like, a doctor said to me, stop doing all that shit. I mean, for fertility reasons, because I had my daughter through IVF. Here's my non-alcoholic beer, and you've got your decaf. So Wednesday night, innit?
We're rock and roll.
Yeah.
We're rock and roll. Oh, hi, Lee. Welcome to our show.
Oh, I'm really pleased you could have me. I'm dead giddy.
Sorry about that.
No, don't apologise. That's fine. And both looking gorgeous, which is always nice. Because usually I just
Got
have
the
to
same
look at him on.
fringe.
We have, yeah.
We
Lockdown
spoke
fringe.
about it before we came on.
Is that what it is? Is it a lockdown fringe?
Lockdown fringe, yeah.
How do I get one of them?
You're way past that, I'm afraid, Lee.
Yeah,
Fair.
I've not had a fringe since the 90s.
Okay, well, thank you two for joining me and us. I very much appreciate it. Because I was saying that I can't do monologues. I certainly can't watch another monologue. so many of them out there. And I get that people want to
think about these monologues, Lee.
I haven't got a thing about it. I never really liked monologues.
Just
They make me
every
feel
bloody week you keep banging on about
Every
it.
week.
all I'm saying is I understand people doing them. They just make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But
Yeah,
they
I know what
always
you mean.
have done. They always have done. In a directing sense, have you ever asked anybody to do a monologue?
No, it feels a bit old-fashioned. I mean, I don't think I've ever done a monologue for an audition in my life, apart from drum school.
Generally for panto auditions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's
Right.
the only time I've ever been really asked to do a monologue.
So the point is, I'm not big on the monologues.
I mean, you're just not big.
All right.
I ain't done one in a while.
Rupert's got a little radio play out at the minute. I think you've got two, actually, haven't you?
This one was interesting because we recorded it from home. This was done during the lockdown. Yeah, I've heard it, and it's good. Yeah, it's really good, and it's unbelievable that we all recorded from completely different places, and you can't tell when you listen to it. It's great.
It's unbelievable considering how long it took you to get on this call. Anything you want to share, Mike, before we crack on?
Yeah, Primordial Radio, which is run by a friend of mine who goes by the name Dewsbury Rock, but I know him as Lanky Russell. It's they were the guys who ran a national rock radio station called Team Rock, and when that ended, they set up this Primordial Radio. It's been going for a few years now. Really successful, loads of events they've had planned, which have had to sadly be cancelled and stuff, but they're a really small company, and what they're doing at the moment is they're giving away 3 months free subscriptions, which I can't imagine is going to be financially really sensible for them. Like I said, they're only a small team of people, but it feels like the right thing to do, and so props to those guys for doing that, giving everybody a 3-month break, and
Nice.
hopefully it'll be successful in the long run, because they deserve it, those guys. So
Okie dokie. So let's crack on. Lovely to see you both. Lovely to see you both. Have you got a song for our isolation playlist?
Yeah, mine is Let's Go Crazy, Prince.
We haven't got any Prince yet. Nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite songs. I have a tattoo of a line of it, which I got done during the tour, actually.
Why that song?
Well, I think the opening line is quite apt, isn't it? We are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a great song. Okay, yeah, that's definitely on.
I've gone for a bit more somber. I've gone for People's Faces by Kate Tempest.
Okay.
You might recognise it because it's being used in an advert at the minute, and it's proper like coronavirus tune.
What do you mean? It's just dour.
It came out way before that, but I mean, she's like a poet rapper. And she brought out this tune, and it sounded like a reaction to Brexit or whatever, but the general gist of it is when everything just feels like it's going completely wrong and everything's shit, she says something about finding peace in people's faces and how much she loves people's faces, and she's talking about weeping at the train station and stuff. And I don't know, now since it's been in this advert, bizarrely, it really feels like the sort of coronavirus anthem.
Okay, I'll be checking that out tomorrow then. People's Faces, brilliant.
I'm incapable of sitting still at the best of times. So when I'm forced to stay within my house, I don't know, my brain just starts wandering, and I just, and because I do write songs every now and again, and then because I just thought, well, I might as well. I wrote it. I was mucking around on GarageBand, and I found a drum loop, and I sort of geeked out on that for about 2 hours. And then after a while, I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to film this to see what it's like. And then I got into editing the film together, and I got really geeked out with that. And the whole thing just became a massive geek fest. And then I was like, well, I've put all this work in. I might as well share it.
Show it to someone.
I mean, it was literally that. There was no agenda behind it. I was just mucking around, and then it sort of turned into something. I've written a lot of songs, but nothing's really ever happened with it. I mean,
but didn't you write? You wrote the songs that were in Stevie and Keely's.
Oh yeah.
Shorts.
Yeah. Artistic differences. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
You're such a lady.
In fact,
you stumble.
Oh my God, you can remember it. Oh yeah.
Most coronavirus thing you've done?
I'm basically incorporating 2 questions here. I'm sorry. I hope that's not breaking the rules. Because you're going to ask me what I was up to before the lockdown happened, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry. This is going somewhere.
Okay.
Right. So I was in Lady Chatterley's Lover. We were on tour, and it got pulled, right? And we were only a few weeks into a 3-month tour, and we were having such a great time, and it was a real blow. So anyway, the cast all love each other, and we've been having like quizzes on Zoom and all of that business since lockdown. Then we decided, let's do a Zoom reading of Lady Chatterley's Lover. Then we decided, let's film it. And then I've just spent the last 3 or 4 days editing together a Zoom performance of Lady Chatterley's Lover, and I've added music and titles. And so basically, it's brilliant, and we're so excited about like getting it out there because it's wicked. And I think that's probably the most coronavirus thing that I've done.
That's pretty good.
First of all, we're sending it to Theatre by the Lake because they're the ones who sort of requested a reading to send to the people that couldn't come and watch it. And then we're trying to clear it with the D.H. Lawrence estate. And I think they're going to be cool about it because they were really supportive of our production. And then as soon as that's all cool, then we can send it out. But it is amazing how compelling it is and how quickly you forget that everyone's in a different part of the country, but they're talking to each other. Like you really do forget. It's turned out really, really well. Like I'm so proud of it, and I just can't wait for people to see it.
Mike was saying last week, I think, or on Monday, that he doesn't particularly like watching theatre on the television because it's a different feel. There's something else going on.
It just doesn't suit the medium at all for me.
But then if you take something that you've rehearsed and is in your body, and you've been doing it for that long, and then you suddenly get rid of all that and it just becomes the words, how much that changes the piece.
Yeah, totally. But I think the way that we did this was, so if we're talking to each other, we look straight down the webcam, And it was a risky strategy, but it really, really paid off. And what you get is you don't feel like you're watching a piece of theatre. It's almost like you're watching a radio play that's being filmed almost. But on top of that, you get to give it some oomph physically. And I actually think it turned out as something quite unique. Like I've never done anything like it before. I've never seen anything like it before. So it didn't feel like doing theatre on screen. It felt like something completely new. It was really exciting. When things do get back, all these places are going to need content. And if there's content that's ready to go.
That and waiting, yeah.
Yeah, so who knows?
Right, will you stop ticking my questions off? Because that's not 2, that's 3 or 4.
I know.
I think you've gone. So we might as well just end it there. Thanks.
I've got the dinner in.
Thanks for coming down. I've done the standard, gardening.
Hang on, you've been doing your music.
Yeah, she has. Absolutely, she has. She's been doing more hashtags than hashtag invented hashtag.
Excuse me, I didn't do the hashtag Actors Live.
No,
I know you're a fan of that, Lee.
I am.
Oh, I love it.
Fan of that.
We both love that, me and Lee.
We love that.
Hashtag Actors Life.
Hashtag teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, teamwork makes the dream work. It does. Hashtag bye then.
Hashtag blessed.
Yes.
Hashtag garden gigs.
It is garden gigs, yeah. So creatively, if you're talking.
Oh, so you're moving on to another question as well. Oh, well, let's just answer them all at once. Yeah, go on.
So I've done. Here's my COVID list: books, read. 1,000-piece jigsaw, done. Mowed a lawn for a first time, nailed it. Jet washed like Lara Croft. Delivered stuff for the NHS.
Jet washed like Lara Croft.
You should have seen me in the garden, Lee. Something else.
Stop.
I felt like Lara Croft. I probably look like Charlie Dimmock. I am a bit of a softie, bear that in mind. You know that.
Yeah.
So my nan lives in one of these like sheltered accommodations, and it's like £2 million project. It's got a little hairdressers in it and all that jazz. So obviously I can't go and see her. She's high risk. She's got COPD, but we're thick as thieves. So I spent a day, I joke you not, writing a sign, threw the letters, coloured them in, laminated them, thought, she'll get it. It's like a war reference. It might make the old folks smile in there. And also, she won't get into trouble because I'm not writing her name on it. Drove down at midnight, hoodied up. It said, we'll meet again.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, goes down there midnight, all in my hoodie, gets out my car, gaffer tapes it onto some poor bastard's back wall, right across. Thought, right, great. So rings her at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I go, hiya. She goes, hello. And I go, did you like me sign? She went, what fucking sign? I was like, the one I put outside. Do you fucking do that? What does it even mean? I was like, don't even worry about it. Fine, it's all right, yeah. That was the really nice COVID thing I did, and then some fucker took it down by midday.
Well, of course they did.
It was probably me, Nan.
And do you know what? I'm surprised you weren't arrested, quite frankly, with your black hood up. You tried to do a nice thing for your grandma, and she predictably wasn't impressed.
She shat all over it.
Yeah. Brilliant. So tell us about these garden gigs that you've been doing.
So obviously my bread and butter is literally like function gigs, so singing. And I created the band quite a few years ago based on the fact that there's a big call out for the LGBT community for a wedding band.
So is that why it's called Sequin Sounds?
Yeah, so that's my band. Yeah, so we've done a few things at Pride. We've done main stage, and we've done the vigil for George House Trust, and then obviously all the gigs over summer have been cancelled. So all the money that I've got, that essentially pays my bills, is gone, and it's weddings. So they've not only been like cancelled and postponed to next year. So that means like now it's May time. Usually I'm like 2 gigs a week. Friday, Saturday. with the band, and we've got nothing. The garden gigs is the kind of thing. Just I think to more. One, my dad loves it.
It's
and
great.
You just have a laugh. You know, I
Yeah.
say you have a laugh. Me and Alan, I nearly knock him out about 20 seconds before the camera goes live every week.
I wondered why he always looks really sheepish. Is that because you've threatened to kill him?
Probably, most likely, yeah. A couple of my friends said it's something that they kind of like look forward to at the weekend, having a laugh, you know, around the garden, and the neighbours love it. And next to neighbours,
Do they?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
They're all leathers. They're all leathers.
Fair enough. It'd do my head in if you.
Well, you say that, but I propped them up the other week. I put beers and Prosecco's on the doorstep, didn't I?
Oh, fair enough.
I was like, enjoy the gig on Friday, guys.
Fair enough. No, it's
So,
great.
yeah, so
Rupert, you've been writing songs. You've still been working, doing the radio and.
Yeah, that was a touch. Because that was really unexpected. Literally just before everything went completely locked down, I was like, I've still got my own mic, and I've got a fairly good mic and some fairly good leads and stuff like that. But I didn't have a decent audio interface and a few other bits and bobs. And I just thought, I'm just going to buy them now, just in case, on the off chance. And then I got to do Letter to Louis, which was the last radio play that the BBC did in Manchester.
Wow.
And we did it through social distancing, so we weren't allowed to go anywhere near each other. We had hand sanitizer in every single booth, and it was they were really careful. And then it was during that I said to Nadia, who was the director, by the way, I've just bought all my own equipment, so if you do need to do anything remotely, and she was like, it's funny you should say that. That's exactly what we're planning on doing. And so it was just really good luck, basically, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to work at all, because it's a really nice way of working. Like, it really is, because there's a thing called Clean Feed, which is a bit like Zoom, but it's audio based, and so you've got everyone in your ears, so you can hear all the other actors and you can act with them, but you just record your own track on your own computer. But I think the one thing I would say for actors who are buying their own equipment is you do need to understand how it works, because they will ask for you to send it out in a specific format, and it can get quite complicated. So it's not just a case of plugging in a microphone and just going. You do need to do a bit of homework.
I was very lucky though, because there was a coronavirus musicians like a relief fund.
Okay.
And if you proved to them that you had like essentially 3 outlets of where it shows that it's your music and you do earn a living from this, they would give you up to £500. I applied for it, sent all my details off like to the website and things, and they sent me £500. It doesn't have to be paid back, and it was in my account within 10 days. So it was incredible, like really lucky. And you know, you had to be part of a union and things like that, but yeah, you know, that helped massively.
Most theatres rely on a kind of not entirely, but a lot on the elderly clientele, and they're going to be the ones who are the most nervous about returning to watch things. So yeah, it really is an unknown quantity, isn't it? What's going to happen with theatre? It will need government help, without a doubt. There's just no way around it. I mean, it's just, and funnily enough, the Nuffield in Southampton, I mean, that's where I was born, and I used to go to that theatre a lot. So it's personally really sad that that's happened to them. It's a really, really tricky time for theatre, because the popularity was waning. It was really hard to get people to come and see plays for a start. You know, I mean, it was like, I think musicals and the big shows do all right, and Panto does all right, but like getting people to go and see plays is like pulling teeth. It's really, really difficult. Or maybe not. Maybe everyone's going to be like, do you know what? I want to reconnect, and I want to see, you know, and maybe the important things matter again. I don't know. Who knows?
There will be an appetite, I think, for people to see feel-good theatre.
Yeah,
there will be an appetite for that. But you do worry about the smaller theatres. You know, the play that I did at Oldham Coliseum, which was brave programming for Oldham, and it was well attended and it went down really well. But will people go and see that kind of theatre?
Yeah, but maybe it'll be, you know, because after World War II, when the country was on its backside, and you know, that was when the government started bringing in all these kind of socialist policies and the NHS and stuff like that, and they started really funding the arts and things. So maybe it will be a bit of a wake up call, and the things that matter to people will start getting funded again. I mean, because the Arts Council was being, wringed by its neck, for the last 10 years or so. So, maybe now there'll be a new impetus to kind of to generate more art within the, who knows? So just try and be positive about it, don't you? But I mean, it's looking pretty bleak at the minute, but
it's going to be a long time, I think, but I can't wait. And if I feel like that, I think there will be audiences who feel like that as well, people that want to go. So I think there is a positive there. I think the other positive thing coming out of it potentially is, and the boss, Mr. Pugh, tweeted a few weeks ago, I think he said that, the industry has to look at itself as far as ticket prices are concerned as well.
Yes.
At the top end of the theatre. So hopefully that will be a positive that comes out. That you have to think, slightly differently, hopefully, and the government support, as you say. So on a lighter note, Rupert, how many toilet rolls have you got in the house?
Oh, I don't know. 6 or something.
Okay, that's fine, because there's lots around now. But at the peak, what did you have?
We never did that. I mean, I never got that. I never got why everyone was going mad for toilet roll. I mean, I was like going, why aren't you stocking up on wine? I mean, like if they run out of wine, I mean, that's really something to worry about. But I mean, toilet roll, Anyway.
I thought he was going to be genuinely logical and be like, why aren't you stocking up on vitamins? Why are you stocking up on your orange juice?
Listen, if everyone's rubbing alcohol into their hands, then my theory is if you rub it into your stomach, you're even more safe.
The Donald Trump theory. Okay, Kelley, how many at the peak? How many toilet rolls did you have?
Oh, about 750. Then I was bagging them into 4s and selling them to all the old dolls on the estate.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
No, was I? I had, to be honest with you, to be blatantly honest, again, I'm a soft ass. I travelled to about 4 supermarkets and about 15 local shops to find my nan toilet roll when I had none.
Okay.
And I got them over and I was pissed off. £11.50 for 9 toilet rolls in a local cost cutter. And I paid it.
Oh, no.
That's mental.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, at the peak, we had literally none. We were just using kitchen roll, and then we got like a little pack of 4 Andrex because I'm flash.
Fair enough.
Yourself. Yeah.
And Kelley, when you said you were a soft ass, I thought that was in relation to a brand or something.
Quilted.
4-ply.
Well, I'm a soft ass, and they didn't have the double quilted, so I just went with the old school paper towel.
Yeah. Fair enough. How many units of alcohol have you had in the last 36 hours or 40 hours?
Not one. I haven't had a drink. I haven't had a drink for 10 days.
Brilliant.
Good. Counting.
What? Any particular reason? Are you just on a bit of a...
This is going to sound really dull, but because I think when we first started lockdown and the sun was out, I treated it as a bit of a holiday, and it was just like beers in the garden, and you know what I mean? And it was lovely. And then after a while, it's like, I can't keep this up. And so I've just become a bit more like, I'm really enjoying exercising, and then I'm just like, and then just getting the booze out of the way for a couple of weeks just makes you feel good. And it's necessary, isn't it, sometimes? Well, it is if you drink like me.
Yeah, fair enough. In that case, Rupert, what's your vice? What are you doing? Are you eating? Are you baking? What are you doing?
Yeah, we're doing all of that. I mean, I haven't really got a vice at the minute. I mean, if I do have a vice, it's definitely alcohol when I am drinking. But yeah, at the minute, I'm just trying to stay sane.
How's the
I'm just trying to stay
homeschooling?
busy. Great, man. I'm really enjoying it. Kai touched on it when you were talking to him last. And I am learning stuff from my 10-year-old daughter that I didn't. It's quite fascinating. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the schooling. I'm enjoying the structure, and like we're going out on walks and taking photos of nature and stuff. It's thoroughly enjoyable.
What's your vice, Kelley?
Fucking food.
Is that 2 things or just one?
No, just one, thank
Just
you.
one.
I'm like,
Okay, I was slightly concerned for a minute because your feed
just slurring into a pulp lyric there.
your feed broke up midway through. And what are you doing food wise?
Well, I'm vegan now.
Okay.
I know it's one of those things though, because now in quarantine, who the fuck do I tell about it?
Well, you're telling us.
That's one of the bonuses. But I've found so Aldi do a great vegan range, and obviously with the weather being nice, slamming into all like the coconut ice cream, the coconut milk ice cream, just everything, man. It's bad. It's a dangerous game. Dangerous game. I've got to the point where I started brushing my teeth in the middle of the day just to stop me from eating.
Every vegan cheese I found.
Fucking stink.
It's
It's
repulsive.
It's rank.
I made macaroni cheese with it, and I'm not kidding.
No.
As soon as it was done, I was like, I'm just going to throw it in bin. It's like cat sick. It's horrendous. So I was going to say, have you found, obviously not, have you found a good...
No.
No.
Apparently yeast flakes are supposed to be really good for giving that sort of cheese taste. But I'm just a bit... I'm a bit of a boring bastard. I can just eat the same thing over and over again. I've just realised what I've just said as well. The idea of yeast flakes.
Yeah. We brushed over that.
Yeah. We left that where it needed to be left.
Yeah.
Rupert, what was the last line that you said to an audience or to camera or indeed to a microphone? Well, think about it, Keely. You know what your last line was, don't you? Or was it a lyric?
Keely.
Yeah, it will have been a lyric, won't it? I will have been on Sunday when we had a technical glitch and I was effing and jeffing and thought it weren't live, and it was on Instagram.
So what was the last song that you did on Instagram on Saturday?
Everywhere, Fleetwood Mac.
So,
Tune.
That song. Yeah. So what's the last line?
I want to be with you everywhere. Just keep going on and on and on. About 20 minutes.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. All right. What was the last line you said on stage? Is that...
Go on. They're waiting for you.
Very good. Was that supposed to be a Yorkshire accent?
No, absolutely not. I just did that. That's my full Monty accent. What are you about?
Okay, fair enough.
I lost all faith in the world. I lost all sense of peace and beauty. And then we brought into being a flame, a delicate and tender flame that already has become all my light and all my warmth. And I'm not doing the Yorkshire accent, not with you.
What was the word? Is that from Lady Chatterley's Lover?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it?
Oh, see, proper thespian there.
Yeah. He can write that fella, can't he? I'll come back to that in a moment. So what was the play at the Lowry?
It was an LGBT series. It was lots of short plays just about different things within the community. It was in the studio. It was part of Hive North. It's quite nice to do, actually. It's a bit different. There was one piece in particular which was like so shocking. I was like, oh my god.
Shocking as in...
I mean, I
explicit.
Shocked sexually.
Oh really?
Oh,
okay.
You can.
Okay.
Big part of the LGBT community. It's a big part of my life, so it was nice to be asked.
I think you're right as well when you said, whoever said that something like the Full Monty, I could see that going out again without a doubt, because it's just the sort of thing that people are going to want when all this. Well, a lot of people are going to want. I think there's massive potential in this online stuff that the National have sort of pioneered. And I don't see, I just wish we filmed Lady Chatterley's Lower. And do you know what I mean? I just wish we had a film of it that we could have sent out. I mean, we've made one now, but, of the actual production, I think there's some mileage in that, even though it's not the same, obviously.
The problem with filming theatre, National Theatre had that set up, so they knew they were going to film it and they were sending it out to cinemas, and it was very much geared up to do that. And actually, I think in some respects was directed with that half in mind.
Yeah.
And there were numerous examples of that. However, there were quite a lot of others that have been on that it just doesn't translate. You watch 20 minutes, you just go, I can't watch it. And it's nothing to do with the performance. It's nothing to do with the pitch. It's just the way it's shot. And you just think the sound's awful. The cameras are, it's just because it wasn't meant for that. They've obviously stuck a camera somewhere or two cameras for posterity. And they thought, well, we'll edit it up and we'll release it, but it just doesn't work.
No, it needs to be done properly. But I think the thing is, particularly when you live in Manchester as well, and you don't get the chance to go to London and see all those big shows, and something like Jerusalem that Mark Rylance did, and I don't know how many people have told me it's just the most amazing thing that they've ever seen. And I just will never see it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, if there was some sort of record of it, even though it might not be, obviously it's not going to be the same as being there, but at least it's a way of seeing it. I don't want theatre to die because of it, but at the same time, I think it is also massively helpful.
Yeah. Being back as an actor, either on either side, an audience member or an actor, that first night,
yeah,
the electricity that would be in the building, it would just, oh God, it would be immense. It would be incredible.
For it to kind of work, you want it packed, don't you? You want that opening to be 1,500 people in it. But then I can see a situation where it's going to be a third. They're going to start and they'll let you in, and you have to sit 3 seats away from everybody. Every other row is going to be empty and all that kind of stuff, just to get it back going. Because there's going to be a need for it. Because, like we said, the theatre companies and the production companies are on their arse. So anything like that, they're going to jump at.
Filming. So something. I mean, both of you have spent a bit of time on the Coronation Street set. How do you think that might work?
I imagine they'll get back pretty quick once, because you can social distance to a degree, can't you, when you're filming? I mean, I think there'll probably be a lack of romance in the first few storylines, but I reckon Corrie will get back pretty fast. Most TV will, I think, like you say, and I think once tests are in, once you can test people accurately. But I don't know. Again, I just have no idea. I mean, this is just all so strange and new, isn't it? You've got every single thing pretty much in the world that's going to have to rethink its strategy, and that is just absolutely terrifying. But maybe maybe one country will come up with some incredible sort of support package plan that works, and everyone else will follow suit. Who knows? I think now's the time for we need some really smart people to think about not only how to get theatre back up and running, but also to give it a new lease of life, because maybe that's what it needs.
And like you were saying with weddings and things like that, I mean, what are your thoughts as far as how that will all work?
Well, again, I don't really know. I've seen quite a few people have done, like, were adamant on having the weddings in the lockdown, and they've done essentially online weddings. And my friend got married in Vegas years ago, and she just did a Skype link. Whether that's going to become a new thing, if you want to get married, you want to get married, don't you? Mm-hmm. It's that kind of thing. I mean, the weddings, generally most people have 200 people at a wedding. Everybody's touchy-feely because everyone's leathered and it's all hands-on, and not going to have that, are they? Just kind of acceptance and just think positively. Yeah, in October they might say, right, you can have 100 people in a room, but we could just have maybe the band and a big screen round us, like a big drum screen.
like in Tesco.
Yeah. Is it the Blues Brothers or something, where at the end that they have that kind of thing where they're all throwing bottles?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the cowboy bar where they've got all the chicken wire up. Yeah.
I'll put one of them up.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
A moment that you just thought, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life.
This is a really good question. I think I do have a few, because obviously I did Coronation Street, which was amazing, and I met my wife there, which I wouldn't get away with not saying. But then there was also when I left Corrie, I did like 7 years of television solidly, pretty much through my whole 20s, which was amazing. And I hadn't done a single professional play. And then the first time I did a play, which was Once Upon a Time in Wigan, about Northern Soul, and that was at Bolton Octagon. And the first night, what you were talking about, and the same with the Full Monty, that kind of audience response that I just did not remember. I had no recollection of what that was like. Was just blew my mind. So yeah, I've got so many, but anyway, those two for now.
It's quite difficult, isn't it? Because people look at your career, and especially actors. With actors, it's a bit of that cold. Well, they've done loads and blah, blah, blah. And people always say to me, "Oh, you're always working," and I'm like, "Am I?" Corrie was massive for me because obviously being Mank, it was mainly for my nan. She's cracking on, and I just thought at least I've been on it, and there's that. And then there was the night of the Full Monty in Manchester, and I remember being at the front of the stage, and I don't think I've ever felt so nervous in all my life. And Gary took a photo of me, and it's a belter. And I didn't even know he was there. And I remember Lewis saying to me afterwards, "Don't think I've ever seen you so quiet, CD." And I was like, I don't think I've ever been so quiet. It was just, you know, you're in your hometown. It's something I never, you know, I started uni very late. I finished uni in 2012. You know, didn't have the easiest teenage years kind of thing. And yeah, to sort of feel like you've achieved it, you know, off your own back, and to be there in the moment, you just feel so grateful for everything and everyone. And I think that's when I think about the electric moment. I think of, you know, of that moment and feeling like, oh my God, like my heart could explode with happiness.
Listen, thank you very much. I won't keep you any longer. It's been so lovely catching up. You're both looking great and sounding great, and thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Smile so much, Lee. Been an absolute pleasure.
Just before we went on air, Kelley was saying, "I've never seen you smile so much." I said, "Oh no, this genuinely makes me happy."
Yeah, it's great.
It's Saturdays, if Leeds had lost and we're beside stage, I'd look at him and think, "Oh, I'll talk to him today." There's just no point.
Thanks so much.
Cheers, mate. Bye, Kelley.
Take
Bye-bye.
care, everybody. Stay safe.
Oh, just remind everybody to subscribe. We need to be subscribing and clicking on the thing and stuff, and get ready because we've got some great shows lined up.
I could listen to those two talk about the industry for like another hour. Rupert he just knows so much, doesn't he? And he's so
absolutely,
knowledgeable about the whole thing, and you know.
And it's always tricky because I never quite know what to talk about and what not to talk about, and because there's so much to talk about with everyone. That you always miss stuff off, and you know, after every show I think to myself, oh, I wish I'd have mentioned that, or I wish I'd have said this. So no, it's great, and it's going to be great again next week because on Monday we have the lovely James Redmond joining us, who is actor, comedian.
I'm pretty sure I remember James being on Sunday Brunch at some point. He's bound to have been on Sunday Brunch, which is like there's a level, isn't there, of when you get invited on Sunday Brunch, you know you've hit a certain level.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it? Well, we'll ask him. Him what maybe that's his career highlight. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
So we've got James coming along on Monday, Rosina Carboni coming on with him, and then on Wednesday we have a bit of a music special, and we may well have the Utah Saints joining us.
Yes, I'm genuinely quite excited. That's the first I've heard.
But you know, we'll see about that.
I've been loving their Twitter at the moment because they're sharing lots of kind of old school stuff.
Yeah.
So go check out Utah Saints Twitter if you want to relive your teens and 20s. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to play a little game of Spot Lee, if you look at their music videos, just see if you can spot me anywhere in it. If you want to play that game.
I mean, yeah, it's funny.
It is funny, actually.
It's really
it is
funny.
quite.
Every time I see it, I'm like, there's some choices been made there.
So yeah, next week. So we have James Redmond, we have Rosina Carboni on Monday. Looking forward to that. See you then. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Please subscribe. Please like. Looking forward to seeing you back next week.
Yeah, thanks very much. Adios from the bunker. Roll the credits.